Hi, and welcome to this episode of The Insurance Specialist. My name is Mark Lickman. I'm an actuary and CEO of BuddyINS.com. And on the line, we have Sandy Essex. She's my good friend and a long-term care specialist. Thanks, Sandy, for joining us.
Well, thanks, Mark, for having me on. I'm really excited to talk with you today.
Yeah, not everyone goes into their career thinking they're going to become a long-term care insurance specialist. What motivated you to take that path?
Well, over the course of my lifetime, I'd seen different people needing care. And I thought it was very odd that they had to end up into a nursing home when that's not where they wanted to be. I had a friend of 35 years old. He got the dreaded disease of ALS, and he had a small family, two children, a wife, and I saw the financial devastation, emotional consequences it brought upon their family by not having a plan. And then years down the road, I had another friend, 50 years old. He had an accident. He fell off a ladder and he became paralyzed. He ended up blowing through all of his assets, having to go into a Medicaid nursing home. And I saw what the place was like, and I just was like, this is awful. So, why don't we have something in place for people to buy that could protect them? And then I ended up learning about long term care insurance by meeting a man who did long term care insurance. And that's where I decided to go from educating people in the K through 12 education market to educating people about the importance of long term care planning.
That's cool. And I love how you take an educational approach to this. How long have you been doing long-term care insurance for?
15 years, I've been working with about 3,000 clients at this point. And it's very amazing how, when somebody has to claim, that I remember working with them. I remember talking about their family and why they wanted to get a plan to help the family if they ever needed care, even though they denied it, that they didn't really think it was going to happen to them. But the children were so grateful that their parents planned and that they had a policy to help protect them and be able to put them in a place that they wanted, which was home. And most of my clients all start at home rather than going to a facility like what I had seen in the past.
Yeah, there's so many misconceptions out there about planning. What's kind of the number one question that people have when they come to see you about long-term care insurance?
Well, the interesting thing is they think how expensive it's going to be because they've heard from their friend or family or read. And because they haven't worked with somebody who is a specialist in it, where I have my ability to look at all different cures and all different kinds of options, that I'm able to produce a policy with them. They actually help me create it, a policy that is very affordable. I recently had a couple about a week ago. They actually had an assisted living that they owned about 15 years ago. And she ended up not having a long term care policy because, in her mind, she thought it was going to be really expensive. And she was really pleasantly surprised that we could get her and her husband into a policy for around a couple $100 a month. So we applied for a policy. She's now in underwriting to see if they can get coverage based upon their health. But she was shocked that it was so reasonable and inexpensive.
Yeah, I have to second that. I mean, that's the thing that I hear the most is people think it's expensive, but when you work with a specialist, they can shop the market, they can find value for you based on what you want your plan to be. I mean, it's so impactful. So, Sandy, thanks for what you do for all the families out there and for joining us on this episode. And I hope to have you on future episodes as well.
Well, thanks a lot, Mark. Have a great day.